Hey, what's going on, guys? You're watching Epic Pokemon TCG. In today's video, guys, what I got for you, well, we got quite the butthole puck drop. Anywho, and how we got this gameplay actually kind of helps the fact that the challenge of this video is going to be Dylan tries to be entertaining for 15 minutes. So the only reason I got this gameplay was because I was supposed to be going to a locals, and I'll get into that story here in a little bit. But as you guys can see currently on screen, it is going to be Shadow Rider versus Dragapult, and my opponent had, in my opinion, all kinds of stuff going on, and the gameplay just, I didn't want to cut any of it out because it was just really intense and just completely unnecessary. This game was stressful for just no reason. Alright, my opponent was hitting me. I think it's Shadow Mist that makes it to where you can't play any Stadium or Special Energy. I kept drawing into Horror Energy and Path to the Peak, and it was just it was a rough time, and then some other crazy stuff happened. But as I mentioned, I had a locals I was supposed to go to, and the deck that I was going to be playing is going to be this list right here. And when I initially got it, I was like, hey, cool, I can make a deck profile of this, you know, and upload it. And then I thought, like, this gameplay was so good that I think it deserves its own video. So we'll get to the deck like later in the future. Don't worry, I'll upload that ASAP. But yeah, so I'm just going to go ahead and tell the story. So I got talked, convinced, pressured by a couple coworkers to go to a locals, and I pretty much decided, you know, hey, let's play Dragapult. Screw it. Apparently I just got a subscriber. Okay. I just apparently got a subscriber. I don't know. Like on my screen it's saying someone subbed to the channel. Alrighty. Okay. Alright. I don't know if that is gonna show up in the video or not. Hopefully it does. But anywho, I don't know. Okay, that threw me off. So that Saturday we decided, like, hey, let's just make it a fun-filled Saturday. We'll go watch Venom Let There Be Carnage, go shop around for some like clothes, some Funko Pops, and then we'll come back and we'll play this locals. And it was me, my boy Ricky, and my girlfriend, and we just kind of hung out for the day, and everything was going pretty good. I had to air up a tire. You guys can see where this story's going now. I had to air up a tire before we left, and we go through the whole day, no problems whatsoever. We get back into town, and I drop her off. And we were already kind of pushing it anyway. We sat through like the entire credits of Venom Let There Be Carnage just in case there was like a second one. And don't worry, I'm not going to spoil the video or the movie for you guys, don't worry. But we sat through to see if there was like a secondary credit scene, you know, because Marvel likes to throw that in sometimes. And so I drop her off, and Ricky and I are heading back. And then all of a sudden, just kaploosh. And I thought to myself immediately, like, oh god. Sure enough, my tire popped, and my jack sucked. Like, my jack sucked so bad. And so we're sitting there fidgeting with that thing. We finally get the car up. We finally get the tire changed, and we look. It is well past 3 o'clock at this point. Like, she doesn't live like super far out, but lives far enough out to where, like, if you're on a time crunch, you might want to leave like 30 minutes early or something like that. But we still hadn't even like gone home, got our cards, and then made it back to the card shop, or made it to the card shop. So like the locals plan that just completely fell through. Like that was done, scrapped, and I was like, well, crap. So I think we just went home and we played GTA all night. So yeah. Also, video on my second channel. I'm gonna go ahead and plug that real quick. But getting back to the gameplay, as you guys can see, my opponent is playing Galarian Articuno V, and also has Mewtwo V Union or whatever the heck it's called. And my opponent pretty much just kind of spends the turn using Switch a bunch of times. But yeah, pretty much spends like the early turns hitting me with Shadow Mist and getting stuff set up. And of course, I keep drawing Path of the Peak and other crap, so I can't really do anything. Like, honestly, this gameplay, we just sat there and just exchanged Marnies early on. And then I kept drawing into crap, as you guys can see, that I can't use. But I do get a very lucky double heads here on Crushing Hammer. I was pretty happy about that. But man, as this game went on, I was like expecting, I was like, okay, I'm probably going to lose, but it's all good. And then like the ending happened, and I was just like, dude, this is a video. Oh my god, this is a video. So I evolve into the Drizzile here, and I just decide, you know what? I can't play Path of the Peak. I can't do anything. And I think about taking the Fog Crystal, and I end up taking the Marnie, if I'm not mistaken. It's been a couple of days since I got this gameplay. But yeah, dude, like that whole Saturday was just crazy. And I got this like the night before, I believe. And man, it's just, that day was wild. So spent my Sunday going to Walmart dealing with a dealing with the automotive problem. Had to spend like $100 for a new tire on top of like groceries that day. So really fun day. So I do take my first knockout here, and I decide to start kind of softening up that Rainbow Shadow Rider Vmax back there. And that's kind of like what I do throughout the rest of the game, is I just kind of target that thing down. So I know at some point the V Union is coming down, and I wasn't sure when. But yeah, my opponent just kind of had some stuff going on, like freaking V Union, Shadow Rider, Galarian Articuno, and I honestly just wasn't expecting. I didn't know what else to expect. Excuse me. That was my chair creaking, in case you couldn't hear that. But hope you guys are doing well. It has been a very eventful last few days, and today I go back to work. The weekend felt like it flew by. Of course, it always does, especially when you're having a good time. So yeah, my opponent does have the Bidoof deck box, the Marnie sleeves. He's got the blingy going. I think he had like all 3 rarities of the V, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong, but as you guys can see, the V Union is coming down, and there it is. I was like, great. Because I can't remember what Mewtwo did. I had to read it a few times, and my opponent is starting to power it up because I could not play my Path of the Peak down due to the Shadow Mist ability. But as my opponent sits there and I look at his field, I'm like, cool, I'm not going to get Shadow Mist thingy next turn, so I get to start playing stuff down. And I got a pretty decent hand overall here. I got a Drizzle for next turn. That's what I call it. I know it's probably Drizzle to some people, but I call it Drizzle. I got Path of the Peak, I got Horror Energy, and I have a Dragapult with 20 damage, and my opponent is still kind of sitting there, setting up and such. And I do want to apologize, guys. I think I've already said it, but there is points where my opponent just kind of sits there, and, you know, what can you do there? It was a tense game. I really can't blame him. You know, you got to think, you got to think stuff over. But as for the future of the channel, I am going to try to crank out some more Deck Wizard videos, just because I don't know if Live is going to have the Deck Wizard feature. So if you guys see a slight increase in those videos, that's more or less just me trying to get certain VMAXs and such knocked out. Because I don't know if that is going to be a feature on Live, and that really sucks because I actually really enjoy the Deck Wizard. It's so bad that it's fun. It's one of those type of things. It's not like Zombeaver bad, but you know, don't ever watch Zombeavers, guys. Getting back to the gameplay, so it comes back to me. My opponent has a Crobat set up, and I'm able to finally play down Path of the Peak. Finally able to play down my Special Energy, and I decide right here, you know what? Let's start getting some pressure. You know, let's get our first Inteleon down. And guys, Inteleon Rapid Strike with Dragapult is so good because it matches up numbers so well. And right here, I'm going to Drizzle for the Professor's Research, only card in my hand. So I get a fresh hand of 7 here. And I start kind of getting some stuff going for the future. And you guys can see right there, I do draw, I don't even know how to say his name. Is it, okay. It's like Raihan. I don't know if that's like Raihan or if that's like some weird fancy way to spell Ryan. I looked at that and I was like, there's no way that's Ryan. Like that is some extra stuff there. So I think pretty much like kind of my idea for the ending of this game was I was going to try to boss up that Shadow Rider VMAX and just pick it off. That was the game plan, and that ends up falling through pretty quickly. But we see my opponent does use Underworld Door, and that Mewtwo V Union is getting powered up like crazy. My Path of the Peak did not stay on the field very long. Easily just got replaced by Training Court. And I'm like, oh no. Here comes Mewtwo. So my opponent uses Galarian Articuno V. Whenever he first pulled that out of his deck, I wasn't really like paying too much attention to it. I thought that was the like normal one that I'm seeing played in a lot of decks that allows you to attach extra energy. And it was the VMAX, or excuse me, the V. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. It's like, sure. I mean, I guess it's like pitch dead cards, draw 2, and then you also have, you know, the Shadow Rider Vmax, you know, its ability allows you to draw some extra stuff. I get the idea, but my opponent does hit the air balloon. I was kind of sad about that because now Mewtwo comes up, and now I'm reading Ryan as I'm just gonna call this dude Ryan. I'm just gonna call him Ryan, bro. So I'm reading him, and I'm like, okay, my next turn, it's pretty blatantly obvious what I gotta try to set up here and do. Because Mewtwo's about to come up and hit me for the hot 300 and take out my Dragapult Vmax, putting my opponent in lead. And it comes down to the wire in this game. Like, I got super lucky with just how certain things played out, and I'll just kind of let the gameplay explain itself. But I did mention this in the Umbreon Vmax Deck Wizard video. While I got you guys here, in case you're a fan of those videos, what VMAX do you guys want me to cover? I think is the question here. Also, I am going to be doing a giveaway soon. I don't know how I'm going to do it yet. I don't know if I'm going to do it in like a random video. I've had issues in the past doing giveaways because people are dumb and just make it way too complicated. And I'll tell more about that whenever I get to the actual giveaway itself. But I do get the second Inteleon down, so now I can pick off that Crobat and put myself down to 2 prizes. So as you guys can see, I'm still trying to go with the game plan of pick off that Shadow Rider Vmax at some point. That one I was like dead set. I was like, okay, this is what I'm doing, and that's all there is to it. I played on the Path of the Peak, and I figured, you know, why not? We'll go ahead and throw down that Horror Energy, and I'm so glad that I did. And I go ahead and I just, you know, I'm like, hey, screw it. We got the scoop up net. Let's go ahead and see if we can't attempt to slow our opponent down just a smidge here, because I noticed he had 5 cards left in his deck, and I just got rid of another training court. I unfortunately do miss, but yeah. So really, I was just trying to put him in the most uncomfortable position possible. And I decide, I'm like, you know what? Let's go ahead and pick up this Drizzle. We'll put down these 2 Sobbles. You never know. I play down the Tool Jammer, and I just go for the attack. And I'm still trying to pick off that Shadow Rider Vmax. I look, and I'm like, I don't think there's any way he could knock me out. I'm not sure. And I see he has 170. I have a Drizzle in hand. I got 2 Inteleon. I'm thinking, all right, I have game set up. And I look at the Mewtwo, and I don't notice the HP at first. But we'll get to that here in just a second. So he throws down the other energy. So if I hit that Crushing Hammer, it wouldn't have mattered anyway. So I think that's why he went ahead and just threw down the 5th energy, just in case I do hit it and try to like disrupt him or something like that. He doesn't have to worry about the energy cost too much. But he is going to use Psy-Splosion. I think I pronounced that right. And he is going to pick off both of my freaking Sobbles. And so now I'm wondering, what in the world am I supposed to do now? Because there kind of goes my game plan to an extent. So he just picks off both of those, and I'm like, great, that's awesome. And now it comes down to this turn. Like, if I don't take these last 2 prizes, I just lose. And I look and I realize, wait, there's hope here. There is hope. I'm doing the math in my head real quickly, and I'm like, okay, if I can grab it, I can win this game right here. It's going to come down to whether or not this one last card is prized in my deck. So I go for the Professor's Research. I see the Level Ball. I see the Zigzagoon. I'm like, holy crap, I just freaking won this game. And it came down to the wire. It came down to me having to win on this turn, and I was able to knock out the Mewtwo V Union. And my opponent gives me the well played. That was an excellent game, and definitely a very stressful and necessary game. And I just go ahead and soften up the Shadow Rider Vmax some more because, you know, hey, why not? But yeah, so I'm able to take down this Shadow Rider V Union deck thing. But I hope you guys did enjoy the video. If you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. I really hope I can get some more gameplays like that for you in the future, because those are the ones that I definitely love to upload. But thank you all for the continued support. I love you, and this is Epic Pokemon TCG, signing out. Take care, guys.
Don't forget to like, follow, and obey.